My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck, and I really love video games.
My name is Raph, and I love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This week, we've got an excellent show for you. It's all about our game pairings. We are comparing and contrasting the Super Nintendo 1995 classic Chrono Trigger with the 2023 smash hit Sea of Stars. So without further ado, let's hit the beat with some news. Guys, Power World. one word that's a conjunction of two words.
Power World.
So the first story we have here is Power World, a video game that is basically Pokemon with guns, came out on Steam the other day and sold over 1 million copies in 8 hours. And throughout the span of its opening weekend has sold 5 million copies.
What?
And has become...
We had to keep updating our number.
And has become one of the most downloaded games on Steam, period. It's, I believe, second only to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which just has an absolutely insane over 3 million concurrent players or something like that. But this
5
game
million?
is killing it.
Last time I saw it was at 2 million units sold, and that was like a day ago.
There's 1 million people playing right now.
Crazy.
So Power World is a game made by a company called Pocket Pair out of Japan. You've probably heard of or seen this game if you are up to video game news at all, because it's been making a huge splash because it is a blatant rip-off of Pokemon. there are
shameless, absolutely shameless. Honestly,
it's quite underhanded. It's a survival. It's an online survival game, sort of like Ark or sort of like V Rising, which came out. What was that, last year or 2 years ago?
a little while back.
Valheim.
So you have these shared server worlds, and it's like you start with your underwear and a stick, and you progressively, make technology out of more sticks and stones until you've got
and Pokemon bones
and sticks and stones and Pokemon bones. And Buck is not even joking in that regard, because
feeding your Pokemon the flesh of other Pokemon.
One of the main things of this game involves, if you've ever played Ark Survival, in that game you can have the dinosaurs help you do things like grind fucking things into dusts or
berries
build things
and stuff like that.
Yeah, they can do shit for you, basically.
Yeah.
And so this game has just done that, but with these Pokemon ripoffs. I mean, it's literally little tiny monsters that populate the world. And I'll say this, it's more populated than Pokemon Arceus.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
more populated than Pokemon Sword and Shield. There's more trees in the world. There's more rocks in the world because you have to harvest them. So they're fucking in the game. I mean,
boy, those environments were lush as hell too. I noticed that, like, going in, I was like, wow, this looks a lot better than I would have expected in early access that just came out a few days ago.
That's what
looks good.
Yeah, that's a lot of what's going on with it. It's like Lou said, it's really still a different kind of game than Pokemon, because it leans more on the survival aspect, and they help you. Like I haven't played it yet. I've just been watching a lot of people play it, and I was watching Brad and his cousin play. And at one point, he gets back to his camp and he goes, "Why the hell are you just laying around? Who told you could take a break?" And I'm like, "Are you yelling at your Pokemon?" Yeah, they're all supposed to be. One's supposed to be working on that. One's supposed to be toiling away at the anvil. One's supposed to be doing this. But like, you just make your Pokemon slaves for you?
Which
you make them work.
It tracks, because if you've ever watched the Pokemon show, or if you've ever played any of the Pokemon games, that's like, because you play Pokemon, you play Pokemon games, and you are battling Pokemon, but then like everyone else is like using them to make bread and like heat up their bath water and shit. You know what I mean? And
so blowing fire underneath the bathtub.
The idea the developer had was he was watching the Flintstones one day, and he said, "I've got an idea.
It's a living, guys. It's a living, guys." I mean, kudos to these guys because to me, it's like, how long have Pokemon fans been asking for this live action
Yeah.
game
A better
service?
game.
Yes,
Yeah.
a game where
Yeah.
the Pokemon are walking around and you can actively catch them by throwing a ball at them. You don't have to enter a turn-based combat, so it
Right.
feels like Arceus and that. And then like, I don't know, I only played it for a couple hours, but it's like I found there's these sheep Pokemon or whatever, and I found one that was like the shiny version of it, and it was big. It's like double the size of all the other ones.
Yeah, I didn't see
And
that on my playthrough. Like that didn't show up for me, which was
I
kind of
beat it
cool.
up, caught it, and now I've got this super big sheep that will help me catch the other Pokemon. Or you can
Yeah.
just like Raph said, you can just kill them for meat,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. Yeah, eat
use
them
the
and then
meat
feed them
to
to each
make a
other.
feed them to each other. You can corral certain ones that are more like if their aesthetic is basically based off of a farm animal, like if they're a
Yeah,
chicken or a sheep, you can build a special corral just for the farm like ones and harvest the things that they make without having to kill them. So you can like
Yeah.
pull the wool off of your sheep Pokemon or take the eggs from your chicken Pokemon.
yeah.
It's
Some of them
cool, man.
hatch
It's fun.
too.
I
You
get it.
can like incubate eggs and hatch them and stuff. Honestly, like the thing that struck me the most about it when I jumped into it initially, I was like, this is a perfectly mediocre survival game. Like as far as like the survival mechanics, it straight up plays
They all
exactly
are.
like
Oh,
Ark.
sorry.
Like the the engram system is straight from Ark. Like it's a mishmash of different mechanics from different survival games, but that Pokemon aspect, man, that what makes me want to keep playing this
It's what
game
seals the
continuously.
deal,
Yeah, I
honestly.
played it for like 4 or 5 hours
It'll
last night.
it'll have staying power and it'll get better and better. It will. I'd say my
Yeah,
one
right,
bummer
yeah.
is that I think a lot of people thought it was just going to be a Pokemon game, like you were going
Right.
to
Okay.
grab them and use them in your party and yada yada. And I'd say the only bummer to that is not that maybe not that they would react, but I was really hoping that that's what would happen. And then Nintendo or someone's like, "Oh man, we better actually try." And Arceus 2
No, man, it is like that. I'm
ruined this
telling
game.
you. It might not have like a storyline that you follow per se. It does have story in it, but it's all survival story game shit, which is just like
Right.
terrible rubbish. But it really, I mean, you have a 5 Pokemon team.
Yeah.
All of them do different things for you.
Do they
So
follow you at once, like all together
you
at the
have
same
them
time?
in your pocket and you can have one of them out at a time.
Ah,
And then you can pull it back anytime. There's like settings you can give it, like aggressively attack stuff around me. Don't attack
mhm.
anything. Attack the thing
That's
I'm
cool.
attacking.
Shoot
Uh,
that thing with an AK.
they all
Yeah.
have separate powers. So like the sheep's power is you hold him in front of you like a shield.
Like a fluff ball shield.
And he just like eats damage
Yeah.
for you. And then when he gets hit,
That's
sometimes he'll
cool.
drop wool.
Cool.
But
My
then
favorite
like
was the little Firefox that has a harness that you can grab it and you can use it like a flamethrower. You can grab the Pokemon and just
Pretty cool.
keep
Yeah.
calling them Pokemon, but yeah,
yeah, they're called
And I
pals.
really
Yeah.
at the end
pals,
of the
yeah.
day, I wish it would just make Game Freak, Nintendo company, whatever they're called now, like do better. Like I'm a
Yeah.
big
Right.
proponent for competition makes that better.
Yeah.
I get the feeling though they're gonna look at it and go, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, we don't give a shit," or
No,
maybe just try and
I don't.
sue them. But
I
they're
don't
not
think
gonna
so.
do
Right,
that.
yeah.
I'm hoping like
It's a
you
bummer.
said the first. I think this is gonna make Pokemon go fuck.
Hopefully it'll up
Look
the
at how
ante.
many people want this Pokemon game. Look, literally over 5 million people want us to make this game. What are we doing? Like,
I think I think their attitude since like Pokemon Red and Blue, their attitude has just been, "You're gonna buy it anyway. Fuck you."
we'll
Make more
see,
of the
man.
same, right?
Because man,
That'd be great. I agree
yeah,
with you. I'd love to see that happen. And
because
I just think their
people were
attitude is
kind of
too.
pissed off at those Pokemon games, the open world
Yeah,
ones that kind of like people
yeah.
were clowning them.
But they still bought
They
them.
still bought
But they
them.
still sold millions of copies, and that they didn't even have to freaking try on that
It
one. Like
really
we all
fucking sucks.
know.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
think
look at like
Pokemon is like the biggest selling franchise in history, so it makes sense that people would just buy it on brand name alone, just
yes,
because
Right.
it's a Pokemon game.
Right.
they sell more in plushies than they do, and it's like whatever.
But maybe it's
But that's
Right,
because
yeah.
there's never been a competitor one.
I
So
hope this
maybe now.
True.
it definitely
Yeah.
seems like I'm not a big survival game guy, so the premise of it seems a lot cooler.
Me
than
neither.
most.
I don't like. I was telling Raph. I was like, I don't like I don't like games that take a while to get into, and it's
Yeah.
just the idea of like you have nothing. I'm like that
Yeah.
sucks. I like
Yeah.
don't want
I turned on my
nothing.
buddy. I turned on
I
my
played
buddy
these
Brad's
yeah.
stream, and I looked at his character and I go, "Why do you look like Charlton Heston from Planet of the Apes?"
Yeah, one of the pre-made
And
faces is a
And then
monkey
he's
man.
just hitting a rock with a
Yeah,
pick,
it is.
and he had a spear, and I'm like, "Where the fuck's your Pokemon? Why
Right.
do you have a spear? What's going on?" But I
Yeah.
get it. You have to build into it.
It's cool. He's cool.
I don't know.
All right.
I play a lot of these kinds of games, so it's I kind of fell
I do
into it
not.
quickly. But
We
man,
might
Pokemon
cover it a
thing.
little bit more if I because I'm probably gonna want to play it more honestly
I don't think
because
it's
it is
going to
pretty
Yeah,
go
fucking
100%.
anywhere.
addictive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My time is just occupied.
it might.
Infinite Wealth comes out. I'm like, it's going to be out by the time this episode airs, guys.
Yeah.
So bye.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, just a little sneak peek at the end of the month, we are going to be doing a special for Persona 3 and the new Yakuza game. The
Ooh.
end of February.
All right.
But let's move on to our next story because I'm sure we'll have plenty more to say about Pocket Pair's Pal World games. So for our next story, this one's pretty tight. I kind of want to get one of these, even though I don't want the FBI of Nintendo to be kicking my door down. The MiG Switch Flash Cart.
It's interesting.
If you have not seen this, this is I want to say Chinese developed device. It is a physical game cart that is the same build specs of a Nintendo Switch cart. This bad boy holds SD cards in it. The little oh god, what are they? Yeah,
Yeah.
the flash. Yeah, the little flash cards, and you can put Switch ROMs on this device
Wow.
and play Switch games for free on your Switch. Here's the kicker, because you're probably thinking, well, that's going to stop soon because Nintendo will put an end to that. First of all, this Chinese company doesn't give a fuck about Nintendo's lawsuits. They never do. And secondly, reportedly, you cannot. There's no like front end software to the way this chip works, so there is no way as of right now for Nintendo to patch out your ability to use this thing with software.
That's fascinating. Wow. How?
Since it's like not an emulator thing, it's just physically mimicking the cart, the hardware itself can't differentiate. And
This
so
it's just an SD card adapter, straight
it's
up.
just an
pretty
SD
much.
card
It's
adapter.
a big SD card with a tiny little
Yeah.
like a micro SD in there.
Yep.
Wow.
To be honest, we all connect our Switches to the internet. I really don't think that'll be different. Nintendo might have to change something internally, but like for example, if you buy a Switch game and you go to, have you guys ever redeemed any of your Nintendo points on a physical Switch game before?
No.
No,
So if you
not
put
in
a
a
physical
physical. No.
Switch cart into a Switch instead of buying the digital, there's an
Right.
option to redeem your Nintendo points. You go to the options and you say redeem Nintendo points. It checks what game you're playing and what cart you're playing, and it gives you those points. I've bought used games before where the points have already been redeemed from that game. So you only get the points from buying a new game. So they've got a server somewhere that knows what game you're playing and the serial number ish or something of that game. And they'll just be able to send back a verification thing. You'll have to keep an older version Switch offline to be able to use it in the future, would be my guess.
Right.
That's
yeah.
an interesting point.
There's definitely going to be some sort of a counter to that at some point. Like Nintendo is not going to just let that sit. But in the meantime, I guess you can play whatever games you want on your Switch if you have one.
Back in the day on the GameCube, we owned a freeloader, which
Mhm.
was basically a boot disc for the GameCube. And Nintendo started building into games like freeloader technology. And when the Wii came out, you could play GameCube games on the Wii, but you couldn't use any of the older freeloaders because they had patched all those backdoors. You had to buy. They made a new one, of course, but that was just to play imports. We just wanted to play imports, really.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to play.
Oh my god, I want
Mega
to play
Man
that.
Battle Network.
Yeah, those Naruto arena battlers before they came out. Before Naruto got really popular.
Well, that and Japan used to get them like 6 months, 9 months before.
Man, they had that One Piece game that was like Power Stone. Super fun. But yeah,
I don't
man.
know anything about that.
Yeah, that's right. Pirate Carnival.
They have a predicament on their hands over at Nintendo, but like as we already mentioned, they are very litigious and very prone to finding out ways to stop you from stealing from them. So we'll see how long it takes them to figure this out. But in the meantime, maybe go buy a MiG Switch flash cart and a what's it called, where you can hide your IP address.
Like a VPN.
Yeah, get a VPN because you don't want Nintendo cronies fucking knocking down your door and fucking you up.
These things are $50, something like that.
That's fucking crazy.
$70, crazy, huh?
Yeah, well, if Nintendo will lower the price of their games, which they
True.
never do, maybe
True.
people wouldn't steal them so much. Anyways, I digress. Let's move on to our final story for the day. Our final story is the King of Kong is back on top, baby. Billy Mitchell's
Kind of.
Billy Mitchell's Donkey Kong records have been reinstated at Twin Galaxies. So if you don't know who Billy Mitchell is, maybe go watch The King of Kong. It is a documentary.
Douche.
He's a gem of a man who wears an American flag tie everywhere he goes and has a mullet thing. Well, it's not a mullet, right? God, his hair is just out of the 70s porn.
Quaff.
It's
Quaff.
crazy. So he rose to popularity, I could say, and became a quasi celebrity when this documentary film King of Kong came out, and it's all about people who are trying to get to the kill screen in Donkey Kong, basically, and he's one of them. The documentary also sort of made famous to the mainstream this Twin Galaxies arcade, which I don't remember where it's in, like New Jersey or something. Is that right?
Where's Twin? Oh, I don't
Twin
know
Galaxies.
where Days.
It's this very famous arcade that has
okay.
they keep track of records of arcade cabinets, games point
They're just
wise,
like a leader. They're just like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
an authority on it now.
because it's
Apparently,
so
the official
impossible.
supplier of video game records to the Guinness World Record.
There you go.
Yes,
Like,
Because
yeah,
Guinness World Records. Interesting.
Walter Day is the guy that's in charge of all that. If you ever watched Wreck-It Ralph, the guy that fixes, the guy that runs the arcade in Wreck-It Ralph, it's like he met with Disney people and it's made to look like him. He always wears that referee shirt. The guy looks like him.
Yeah.
Has the same mustache. It's great.
So much like Vinny pointed out last week, arcade cabinet points, like they're not tracked, you know what I mean? They're all individual. So
Yeah.
the problem was, how do you know who actually has the highest score on Pac-Man? How do you actually know who has the highest score on Donkey Kong? So these guys, Twin Galaxies, have taken it upon themselves to be the national place where you go if you think that you can kick Donkey Kong's ass better than anybody. Usually you either play it there or you film yourself playing it and then you send it into Twin Galaxies and they verify it using technology. So the problem was that Billy Mitchell, like 6 years ago, got his Donkey Kong record revoked by Twin Galaxies because they accused him of cheating.
Yeah, using emulation, and or they play on original arcade, but those are all printed circuit boards. They can be physically modified.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, he was accused of cheating. I'm not sure which of the what he was accused of changing the emulation to, or how he changed the emulation. But so he has been in a 6-year long, I think it's like a legal battle, honestly. I'm not
It
sure.
was.
Yeah.
There was a lawsuit
He's
over it. Yeah.
straight up suing to get his goddamn
Wow.
record back. And he finally fucking got it reinstated. And then he
Kinda.
took to the internet to post this statement, which I'll read right now. Today, January 16th, 2024, Twin Galaxies has reinstated all of the video game world records that I achieved in my career, effective immediately. Twin Galaxy's statement on its website reads, in pertinent part, in fair consideration of the expert opinion provided by Dr. Zeta on behalf of Mr. Mitchell and consistent with Twin Galaxy's dedication to the meticulous documentation and preservation of video game score history, Twin Galaxies shall heretofore reinstate all of Mr. Mitchell's scores as part of the official historical database on Twin Galaxy's website.
You're reading this from his site because only
Yep.
like a third of that's actually true. This is how like wackadoodle this man.
Well, that
is.
was a quote from Twin
Yeah,
Galaxies,
right,
so they
yeah.
said that.
Kinda.
Well,
Like he keeps changing the quotes from Twin Galaxies. Like, no, this is another story in and of itself.
really?
He is now changing the quotes from Twin Galaxies.
What?
Like they restored some of his older scores per that lawsuit to appease it because he didn't really win. All of his scores have since been beaten, so he's not even like on that leaderboard really. He is still banned from submitting any scores to Twin Galaxies and can never participate in any future events and or high scores for them, which means also Guinness Book of World Record. I don't know. The guy we have Free Play Florida down here in Florida, and he comes there almost every year and pushes it. He sells a hot sauce and has like a wings joint somewhere in Florida somewhere. I
Oh
think.
man, this guy looks like a douchebag.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is a douchebag. Yeah, I mean,
Whoa,
whatever.
he looks like a villain.
Don't talk about him too bad. If we say his name too many times, it'll pop up in the metaverse and he'll sue us too.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
no.
Yeah, that's true.
He's like the
incurred the
boogeyman
wrath
in your
of-
closet. He's like Candyman. Don't go walk up to your Donkey Kong arcade machine and say Billy Mitchell.
Yeah, yeah.
Billy Mitchell,
I heard if
Billy
you say it 5 times into the kill screen, he appears
Oh my
behind
God,
you.
Billy
Yeah,
Mitchell
yeah,
just
yeah.
Evil gaming Michael Bolton.
Oh
What
my
the hell
God,
is
does he
this
kill you?
guy?
No, he just critiques your ability to play Donkey Kong.
It tells you how much better he
Yeah,
is.
it's really annoying, and he smells, and he wears an American flag tie, which is just
boy.
tacky. It's not like on 4th of July, just all the
Yeah.
time.
And a pocket handkerchief as well.
Right.
So
He's a
I'm
real
looking at the picture
character.
here. He's got a flag here, and black suit.
Well, that's way too much time spent on Billy Mitchell.
Yeah.
I'm done.
God bless you.
Yeah. Let's
God
let's
bless you,
move on
Billy
from this
Mitchell.
guy.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for news today. We'll move on to our main segment of the day.
Well, if it isn't Booger Boy himself.
All right, we are back, and we are here to talk about our main segment, our wonderful game pairings. This week, we are comparing Chrono Trigger and Sea of Stars. What a fantastic week, you guys. I got to jam cram 12 hours of Sea of Stars into
so
about
glad.
5 days worth of time, and it was fucking worth it. God damn, this game was absolutely fantastic.
You're pretty close to like halfway, I think. That's pretty good.
It is an incredible game. So let's first start our segment here. We're going to talk about how these two games are similar, how they're different. Maybe one is better than the other. Maybe we like one more than the other, but they certainly are. One is influenced by the other. I can certainly say that. So I'm going to start by covering the basics of Chrono Trigger. So this is a game that everybody should play, but I know that there are some people who haven't played it, and so they might not know what it is.
There's nothing basic about it.
Yeah, so Chrono Trigger is a Super Nintendo game published by Square on March 11th of 1995. It was released. It is, most notably, there are some development things that I wanted to point out. This game has two composers, Yonori Mitsuda and Nobuo Uematsu of Final Fantasy fame. And secondly, all the characters of Chrono Trigger are designed by Akira Toriyama, who is the lead artist of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. Chrono Trigger kicks ass. Before I pass it off to these guys to ask them how they feel about Chrono Trigger, I just want to mention that if you have heard of Chrono Trigger, you probably know that it's widely regarded as one of the best JRPGs of all time. It's usually in talks with Final Fantasy VI. They got released in similar times. I personally like Final Fantasy VI more, but goddamn, Chrono Trigger is one of the most perfect games for the Super Nintendo. So I'm going to pass it off to my co-hosts here and let them talk about Chrono Trigger. Buck, how do you feel about Chrono Trigger?
Oh gosh, you got an hour. No, it was just
what a
amazing.
question.
Oh my God, seriously, because it really it cemented that difference even between like RPG and JRPG, even though JRPG then started going in a totally different tangent, and now Persona really is the JRPG with all the grind and everything.
Right.
You know, really fun fact too, when Chrono Trigger originally came out, I was knee deep in my Sega CD. So I had just beaten Lunar 1, and I think it was right on the time that I'd finishing that, or Lunar 2 had just come out. So I didn't pick up Chrono Trigger eventually. My friend Ben played the crap out of it, and I was loving Lunar, so I had no reason to stop and play because no one really knew about what this Chrono Trigger thing was. So I had to go back and play it a little later afterwards. And that's even a tough comparison because all Lunar games are great, but Chrono Trigger is just a freaking masterpiece. All those things that you mentioned before, the what's really contributed to it, I think, and a lot of history contributes to it, is like you were saying before, the continuation of that pairing. So Mitsuda did the music until he got sick. That's why Uematsu picked up near the end because he worked for
Wow, I
Square
did
also
not
at the
know that.
time.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course Akira Toriyama. But the biggest thing was the gameplay. Forget even the story, but the gameplay. The two like co-producers of the gameplay were Yuji Horii, who created the Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior series, and Hironobu Sakaguchi, who created the Final Fantasy series.
Holy
These guys
shit!
have made this game
Wow.
together.
I did not realize that.
And so it was like, and we'll get into Sea of Stars later, but it's like at the time, they looked at it from a gameplay standpoint, and I'm talking purely gameplay. What makes an RPG really fun? Well, it makes it really fun when you have choices of characters and the characters are different from each other. It's really fun when the characters have abilities that are, they came up with the dual and the triple tech and stuff. Oh, it's really fun when you interact with certain things and it really matters. Your choices matter. Like talk about games today when you play, especially like, visual novels and stuff, and or Mass Effect is a good example. Like, does my choice even matter? And Chrono
Right.
Trigger is an example of, yeah, it matters a shitload.
Yeah.
Your choices matter a whole lot.
Yeah.
Then when you take it to the next step of the story and everything else, it skyrockets to the top because the writing and the fleshing out of all the story mix those things together.
Yeah.
That's why you get
Raph, you were able to experience Chrono Trigger for the first time this week. How did you feel about
Right,
it?
yeah. So this is my first
Yeah.
time playing it. I mean, honestly, I
awesome.
really, really love it. I didn't play a huge amount of JRPGs growing up. I think my first one was honestly, if you even consider it a JRPG, but Pokemon as a kid, and then playing some of the Final Fantasy games after Final Fantasy VI. I've never played Final Fantasy VI either.
That's
Only
my
played
favorite.
7,
Absolutely
8, and
stupendous.
onward.
Six is
But yeah, my experience with this basically put me in a mindset where I kind of want to play a bunch of JRPGs. So I actually fired up Final Fantasy VII earlier this week just to mess around with it as well.
Seven's good.
But man, the music for this game is incredible.
Yeah.
You mentioned the art direction, and then you also pointed out Dragon Quest. I think Akira Toriyama did the character
He does.
designs for Dragon Quest as well, right?
Well, yes, like back in the day, he was just doing like the cover art and some of those things after the first couple there. But yeah, he's always worked. That was the thing. He always worked with Yuji Horii on a lot of that stuff. So it
Right,
was easy
yeah.
to like, hey, come make some character designs for this too.
That's super cool because I've like Akira Toriyama's art is kind of near and dear to my heart. I grew up
Mm.
watching obviously Dragon Ball Z. I love those.
Go play Blue Dragon.
Yeah,
Yes.
I gotta
I
check it out.
loved that game.
The Xbox
But
360, right?
man, Chrono Trigger though, like I played with the active battle system, and that is stressful as hell, man.
That was new. That was new when like Final Fantasy R2 their 4 came out, which was right before Chrono Trigger, and that became like the new cool thing. It's neat because like you take your time, but you can't take too much time.
Right. Because you can
Take
try
your
to
time, but
squeeze
hurry
in
up.
2 turns before Golbez does something.
You want to try to.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah, no,
cool.
it makes the like that JRPG turn-based combat system more interesting because you can definitely that's one criticism of the genre in general that could be labeled kind of like put against it. Some people find it a little slow and like turn-based combat, you're just kind of spamming attacks sometimes, but not the case with this game.
Right.
You're using all of these different abilities, and I love the combos too. When we talk about Sea
Mhm.
of Stars and how that is something that got brought over, and I think it works so well in both of these games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So then let's really quick cover Sea of Stars and its creation. So Sea of Stars came out in 2023. It is developed and published by Sabotage Studios. Some notable people on the development team or whatever. It's got 2 composers as well. So Yasunori Matsuda of Chrono Trigger is one of the composers on Sea of Stars. The other composer is Eric W. Brown, the composer from The Messenger.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize this until I read this while doing research. Sea of Stars takes place in the Messenger universe, which is cool. Makes me want to go back and play The Messenger now.
Well, I beat them both, so I can see where that's a thing. Oh, the shopkeeper. Oh shit!
Yeah.
You just made something.
So no spoilers because I haven't beat it.
No,
same
I
here,
couldn't-
same
I
here,
can't say
yeah.
more, but holy shit!
Sea of Stars was released August 29th of 2023. It won the Game Awards Indie Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And rightfully so,
Absolutely
because
deserved, yeah.
this game kicks so much ass, guys. This game has been sitting in my Game Pass library since it came out, basically. And I am kicking myself for not playing it sooner. Buck has been telling
Okay,
me,
you're playing it now.
you got to jump on it. You got to jump on it. And man, what an amazing if you had told me this game was made by Squaresoft, I would believe you.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Buck, ramble on about Sea of Stars for me, please, for just a little bit.
I beat the ever living snot out of this game. I have like 40, 50 hours into it. So you talk about the things that make it a really, really great game, and there's some that are definitely differences from Chrono Trigger.
We'll
but
get
there's
into
some that
we'll compare the mechanics in a moment,
Right.
Okay,
but just give me
so
like
the
an
things,
elevator pitch of why you like this game.
yeah, I like this game for the main reason that I like or dislike any RPG. I gave a shit about the characters.
Yes.
If I'm 5 or 10
Absolutely.
hours into an RPG and I can't even, I'm not going to lie to you. There's been some RPGs that I've muscled through.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even tell you what the main character's name is,
Right.
a year or two after playing it, which is a real bummer. So the way that they set up the story with Zale and Valer and Garl, like, you really care about these, especially the main three characters. You
Mm-hmm.
really care about those characters, and that's one of the biggest things for me. And one of the main reasons why Chrono Trigger is fun too, because you really like those characters. You really care
Right.
about Robo when you have to
Mhm.
leave him behind, and you care about helping Frog, achieve his quest and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. Like, that's the thing that's really the best about it. That too, the art is beautiful. I love that whole Super Nintendo aesthetic, but it's kicked up a notch through
Mhm.
particle effects
Mhm.
and other things. Is
Mhm.
beautiful. The way that the music design complements all of the levels, I think, is
Mhm.
super, super awesome. Like, you later on obviously get to a water temple, but there's sometimes hit or miss. But the water, I mean, the music is so banging
Oh,
in
yeah.
that area.
Yeah.
I just love that as well too. I love the character swapping mechanic and everything that it's
Mhm.
got, and some of the things, and we'll talk about in the things that are similar as well
Yeah.
too. But I just love that, and that battle music is a bop.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
get to that.
So I
We'll
was about
fucking
to. Oh well. Yeah.
Raph,
We'll talk about
no,
it in
go
a minute,
ahead. Go
but-
ahead
Do
and
it.
give
Do it.
your why you like Sea of Stars.
Well, like when I just wanted to that music was the music for the battles. Like, is that done by the guy from the Messenger? Because it sounds
Yes.
like okay,
Yes.
yeah, it sounds just like it.
Like 90% of the tracks are actually done by Eric Brown.
Yeah.
Mitsuda
Okay.
only did a couple really
did-
good, really key ones.
He did 10 to be
Okay.
specific.
but that's out of like 100 tracks.
Dude,
so
yeah.
pretty spot
When
on.
we get to the music, Raph, go ahead and yeah.
I absolutely love the combat system for this game.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so I love games with a lot of like really intense, heavy combat, and there's a feeling that I get whenever I'm playing those where I find that I'm holding my breath in the middle of the fight.
Mhm.
I get that with this game. I'm like
Yeah.
holding my breath, like trying to time the blocks, trying
Right.
to time the those like double hits,
Moonerang.
trying to. Yes, the Moonerang. I love that. Just going back and
It's
forth.
so fun.
Man.
There's quite a bit
Um,
more as you get through
yeah.
it with other characters. So
I
you'll
can't
enjoy
wait,
it.
honestly. Like, I'm so excited to keep playing this game. Also, like, my Garl, my boy
Dude.
Garl.
Oh my God,
he
dude.
is such a homie.
As
I
the
love
only
that guy.
person of the three of us that has beaten this game
Right.
and gotten, we'll talk about the comparisons, and gotten the true ending,
Okay.
you're going to want
Fuck
to
yeah.
also get the true ending. So sorry about the stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, it's wonderful. No.
I think he just means it's hard.
absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Oh, no.
But it's just like Chrono Trigger with it only has an ending and a true ending. It doesn't have freaking 10, 15
Yeah.
endings like Chrono Trigger does. But the true ending is so worth it in this
Does
game.
Chrono
Yeah.
Trigger really have that many endings?
Yes,
The
dude.
original Chrono Trigger had
Woo.
7 actual endings. One of them has some derivatives, so some people say it has like 10. Since they've re-released it, it actually has like 15 endings.
What?
We'll get into the
Okay,
game
yeah.
mechanics of Chrono Trigger and how how it can have 7 endings. But yeah, man, for my pitch on why this game, Sea of Stars, it is, if you've ever watched Steven Universe out there
Okay.
in the world. I don't think either of you have, but you
I have
should
not.
because it's
Not
one
a
of the
lot.
it's one of the best cartoons that's ever been made. Um, this game's plot has such awesome Steven Universe vibes.
I could see
Cool.
that.
Like you got these warrior characters who are combat badasses, but since they were raised in a monastery, they don't know how to socialize, and they have a friend who is not a combat badass, but his strength is that he like keeps the
It's very
morale up.
lovable.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
lovable and he keeps them like going when things are tough. You know what I mean? Which is what Steven Universe. You got the crystal gems, and then you got Steven. He doesn't have powers, but his power is he makes everybody feel better.
Yeah.
Right? And then also
Yes. Very much so.
the
Those vibes.
subplot of Steven Universe is that you're kind of going, who are the crystal gems? Why are they what? And this game's the same thing. Your two main characters are solstice warriors. And in the
Mhm.
beginning of the game, there are sort of characters who are going, they don't even know yet. They don't know. Oh, should we tell them? And it's the whole thing is like, who are the solstice warriors? The backdrop is that your two main characters were brought there by an eagle, and that you're destined, and it's all sort of like shady and what have you. But Buck is correct in that the plot is well written. You like
Yes.
these characters.
Yeah.
It uses video game RPG tropes, but it knows that.
Yeah.
And there are times when it'll just say that straight up,
Captain
which I found is
Cliche.
Pirate. Yeah, the one pirate
Captain
gal's like
Cliche. I love that.
I wanted there's a line here. Let me
about
there's
the wind mage that can't he can't take his eye patches
Yeah.
off to cast
yes,
magic.
there's a mage named Keenathan
So good.
who is a pirate who wears two eye patches simultaneously because he can only do magic while blindfolded.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's so
I
fun.
love it.
That's
That's
so
like
much
wind
more
magic.
fun than
He's not even so here's and I won't say a gripe, but here's the funniest thing about Sea of Stars that I almost hope they do some DLC. There are so many characters like Keenathan that you run into and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to get him in my party and try
Right.
him out. He's not a party member. There's this really fun, like ostracized. There's this land of like mole people if you've been there yet.
Yeah.
And there's this really fun kid that wears a cape and has this pet monster and has like a shovel for a sword.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, he's gonna be fun in my part. He doesn't join my
Yeah. I
party,
wanted
man.
that guy to join my party
Dude,
too.
There's like 6
Yeah.
characters like that in that game where you're just
Damn.
like, he would have been a really cool party member. Why you gotta tickle my balls like that?
There's almost certainly going to be a sequel to this game, honestly. Like
Yeah, it'd be
with
like
how
a
popular
frog
it's
wasn't a
been,
party
yeah.
member in Chrono Trigger. You'd be like, but he's so cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the actual mechanics of these games. What mechanics carried over, what mechanics
All right,
didn't,
this is coming off then.
whether we liked it or not. Yeah. So all right,
Okay, now.
so let's start with maybe the battle mechanics. So good place to start is the techs. So and the live action battle. So one thing that Chrono Trigger started that now people can't imagine games without is the idea of no random battles.
Yeah.
So all encounters that you come across in the universe are physically on the map. So if you're going to fight a goblin or two, there will be goblins on the map that you can see that you can also avoid if you want.
Yeah.
So that was like hugely revolutionary when Chrono Trigger came out, and Sea of Stars borrows that mechanic as well, which
With
I
a
think
twist.
is fantastic. With a twist in the sense that there's so much more verticality
Yeah.
in Sea of Stars, because one huge difference in Sea of Stars is that you have the capacity to climb ledges and drop down ledges with the A
Love it.
button. So
Right.
the overworld, and eventually you get a grappling hook,
I was gonna say there's a
which is
grappling hook.
holy
Oh, I
shit,
haven't
it's
even
so
got
much
that yet.
fun. Oh my god.
Use that. Have you used that to start fights yet?
Yes, you can grappling hook onto a monster and pull yourself towards them and then hit
No
them
way.
so that you
That's
start
awesome.
when you start the combat, that enemy has already taken some damage and leaked some of the live magic, which is the
Yeah.
thing we can talk about in a moment
Yeah.
here.
Don't overlook that either, too, because that'll help you
Yeah.
get to some hidden spots. By like, how do I get over there?
Yeah. So
I like that the enemies will chase you too. Like that's something that they
Mhm.
kind of like added, that they'll chase you in an area for a certain distance.
right, and you have to outrun them literally if you're
Yeah.
low on
They
health or
might
something like
ambush
this.
you. Yeah.
Right. And then in battle, one of the big like definitely an homage to Chrono Trigger, is the existence of combo attacks. So in Chrono Trigger, one of the main kick-ass battle systems is that there is 7 playable characters in Chrono Trigger, I believe, and you assemble parties of 3,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you can do combo attacks with the up to 3 characters in your party. So if you
Depends on who it is.
have Chrono and Ayla, they do some combo thing where he throws her and she attacks them, and then he jumps from above. If you have Frog and Chrono together, they can do a combo where he puts bubbles on his
X-Slash.
swords, or they do an
Oh,
Xing slash, things like this.
you haven't gotten there yet.
So I don't know if there are triple techniques in Sea of Stars, because I haven't gotten there yet. But
there's not triples,
No,
but
but-
characters start to gain ultimates.
okay, cool.
When they get to a higher level. Which
The
is pretty
main difference, I would say, in how they get executed is that in Chrono Trigger, you just spend MP to do these techs, I believe, right? Whereas in Sea of Stars, you have like a little combo meter that starts
Yeah.
0
Right.
at every battle, and then as you inflict damage on enemies, this little combo meter will build up, and then you have
Yeah.
like an allowance of like combo squares that you collect, and then you use a certain number of them to do the combo attacks.
Yeah.
That's fine, because one combat mechanic that Sea of Stars has that Chrono Trigger does not have, which is so awesome, is that your basic attacks that you hit your enemies with generate MP for you.
Right. I love that
100%
shit.
agree.
Yeah.
Would
it's
you like to
so
talk
good.
about why that is so good, Buck?
I don't have to chug
well,
ether.
Anybody that's played any RPG knows why it's so good, but I'll tell you the thing that you didn't think about that makes it so good. It becomes a strategic part of battle.
Precisely.
Right.
You don't have a ton of MP, and so you can still use items that restore it. Garl has a whole alchemy cooking system,
Which I'll
where
talk
you
about
can-
next.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
but you become strategically going, oh, do I want to do that ability? No, because if I do one big attack, I can do an attack, and you can button press like Mario and Luigi RPG Superstar style and get a second hit out of your regular attack anyway.
Just
generate that non-magic points that you only generate with physical attacks.
So
and
just to
specials.
clarify, Buck is what Buck just pointed out. Another really kick-ass thing of this game is that it borrows that Mario RPG mechanic. Every attack has, and even the healing spells have moments where in which you can press the A button during their animation, and you can make them stronger, and you can also lower the attack damage taken from enemies if you press A at the moment that their animation makes contact with you.
I got the
And like
the
Mario
sandwich, the sandwich from Garl with his nourish.
Right.
I ended up getting it down. I was like, oh yes, and you pulled the sandwich out.
Right, so he does that. He does the one with the pot and everything else. He's got a fun like dual tech one later on with one of the characters where they jump on his pot and the pot boils over and he shoots them off the pot lid.
Yes.
So that they can go hit an enemy. So you have to time that one as well too. But
I love
what
it.
happens is when you do a physical attack, that's when you get the MP back. But it's also when you generate those non-magic orbs, which you were talking about as well.
So
Live
explain what
mana,
those are.
Live mana, yeah.
They're non-mana or whatever they. I forget. It happens so early in the game. I
It's
forget
the
the name
live
of them.
mana, yeah. Magic
live
without
mana,
magic, yeah.
The magic without magic, and so you can power up a normal attack, or you can power up some abilities. So if you're playing if you have like Zale and you want to use their elements in the next attack, you have to absorb some of the non-mana, which you only generate by doing normal attacks, which also get you MP back. So you'll be like, oh, I can use that guy's ability. No, because if I do an attack, he'll get 3 more MP back. He'll have enough for that bigger attack next turn, and I'll make some of those orbs for this next guy in turn order to use to hit with it. And it just becomes a totally separate level of strategy that you didn't even think would become a thing based around the way those two mechanics synergize with each other.
That's
and
very cool.
One of the hugest things about generating those elemental types of damage too is that when enemies are going to cast large spells or some big attack, they will
breaks.
They will above their head will appear like a series of symbols that basically, if you can hit the enemy with the damage type of each one of the symbols above their heads, it will stop them from doing the attack that they're about to do.
That's from Octopath Traveler, or those other games that have it too. But Octopath Traveler specifically does it the same way.
The
Like
shield breaking stuff.
it gives you the emblems that you need. Same thing. It becomes a strategy later on. Going,
Yeah.
okay, I've got these 2 enemies, and it always tells you how many turns left until the enemy does the attack.
Right.
Yeah,
You go,
right.
okay, I could do this and this and that, and I could say, no, I couldn't stop that one, but that guy's in 2 turns, so I'll have
Right.
Carl and this character do their combo thing, and then this person get powered up with the non-mana thing, and like, okay, boom, I stopped that guy from throwing the bomb, and it.
If you can't tell, viewer, listener, the combat mechanics of this game are awesome and complex. Like
Excellent.
much more complex than Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Bosses later on, that becomes how you fight bosses. Chrono Trigger was in the 90s, which just meant a boss fight took a long time, and every time you got hurt, you mitigated damage or someone died, and you got your party back up to going, and then you kept your combo going. And fights would take 20, 30 minutes because the boss had 34,000 health, right? In this game, there's always those mechanics to it of like, okay, can I do that? Oh, I don't need to stop that ability because that's just where he throws the spikes. But oh no, his back is glowing red. That means he's going to do the one big one that's going to insta kill somebody. I have to interrupt that one.
Right.
And 4 turns in advance, you're planning how to have the orbs ready for this character and the enough MP on this character to heal. And it gets pretty complex with the other characters you get because this game also has the live character swapping ability. And then it becomes a total. Have you guys gotten more than 3 characters yet?
I got the
No,
ninja
not
chick,
yet,
but
no.
right when you get her, Garl goes unconscious, and so you were
I
not
only
able to
have,
use them both.
Garl at the moment.
So that game, like Final Fantasy, was it 10 that did this? You can swap your characters
Without using
on
their
the
turn.
fly,
Yeah.
mid-turn.
Oh,
And so
I didn't know that.
So that chick you got with the daggers
Kicks
is by far the fastest and has the highest agility. So half the time you keep her in your party because you have her do whatever, and then you swap in whoever you actually want to go that early because she's so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So being able to do that combo system gets so much more elaborate when any of your characters getting swapped out at any time becomes a
because
thing.
you could
That's a
swap
good
them out
point.
instantly, then throw in like, oh, I want to do
The
the combo with
combo.
this person, pull them out.
Yeah.
So there's a mechanic in Sea of Stars that I think was borrowed from Chrono Trigger. So like when your battle meter comes up, you can do your attacks in any order that you want. Like you don't
Right.
have to necessarily go on the turns that. And I think Chrono Trigger does the same thing. Although I'm usually playing the live battle system, so I'm so panicked that I just go with whoever is up next.
In Sea of Stars, your whole party's turn is usually at the same time.
Right.
Then it matters which order you want to then go in from there.
Because
right?
some of the enemies will have like one, they'll just start off with one turn till they do something. So you're like, if you don't have what it is to stop them right now, it's like, oh, well, fuck. Okay, so I'm going to eat that. But how can I not eat something later? Or how can I get ready to not eat that later?
But just like the MP ability thing that more RPGs should have.
Oh my God, yes.
Another great mechanic this game has that more RPGs need. If one of your characters gets knocked unconscious, killed, they get back up 2 turns later with a partial health.
Yes,
I love that. Yes.
Yes, Raph, would you like to explain more specifically like how that works?
Yeah, well, so I mean, your character goes down, and then they have like the stars like kind of rotating above their head. So then you have to kind of fight defensively while they're recovering, and then you can also bring them back up if you have certain items, right? Yeah, which is oh my God, it makes combat so punchy, and it makes it move so quickly. I love the combat game in this, or the combat system in this game.
Yeah,
honestly,
yes.
I mean,
you get a character later on that can, again, I'll keep it spoiler free for you guys, but ability wise, there's a character later on that has like a, if I'm not mistaken, like a taunt kind of ability. So in those kind of situations, it's just like, oh no, this healer character died. All I have left is the tanky dude and this other guy, and I don't want the other attacker guy to die and just pull all the attacks towards them, and they have way higher defense than anybody else.
Right. So they can take the hits.
Yeah, the auto getting up with like there are stars above your head, like Raph said, and you'll get more stars if you get knocked out a bunch of times in one battle. So like the first time you get knocked out, you'll get like 2 stars, and then if it happens again, you'll get 3, and 1 star goes away every time someone takes a turn.
I can't remember if it's the character you just got or if it's the tanky one I was talking about, but they get an ability later on, or no, it might be an item that you equip, where when you get knocked unconscious, you get back up with like 1 star on over your head instead of 2 or 3.
Oh my God!
So you get back up like a turn later.
That's another thing that I want to talk about really quick is
so many mechanics.
you get these items that are like artifacts. I believe what was the word for
Oh,
them?
yeah,
The
they're like
talismans or whatever.
runes or something like that, or
Right.
like not
They
runes. I
are
don't know what
augment
they are,
the
but
game.
yeah,
they augment your game. So it's like
Yeah.
there's no easy, medium, or hard, but like you'll get a talisman that you can turn on or not if you don't want to. That'll like make you take less damage. There's one that makes it to where you automatically do your second hit on basic attacks. There's one that makes it to where, I don't know. You like
There's a lot of them.
yeah. There's
a lot.
like one that makes it to where like a little star will come out of the enemy if you hit the A button at the correct time, so you get more feedback. So it's genius because you don't have to make an easy mode. You can just custom make your
Let people
own
play the
easy
way they
mode
want.
with the
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
talismans that you turn on and off. It's
There's
so
one that will
fucking
auto
brilliant.
do. There's one that'll auto do the button press hits. It
Yeah.
just does slightly more damage overall, but you don't have to do the active
Yeah.
time attacks if that's not your jam.
And then one of the final mechanics that kind of has to do with battle I want to talk about that we kind of brushed on already is Garl's cooking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cooking food in this game exists. You have campsites that you come across in the overworld, and they're like your tents. So you can rest at them for free, and they replenish all of your MP and your HP. You could also cook at them.
Mhm.
So you find ingredients all over the world constantly. And you find recipes all over the world pretty much constantly as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the catch to the cooking is that you can only hold 10 items in your pouch at any given time, period.
Cooked items.
Cooked items. You can hold as many ingredients as
Yeah.
you want. You can
Yes.
only cook at the campfires, and you can only hold 10 things, which sounds like that sucks, but no, it doesn't. Because normally in video games, when you get potions and ethers, you are hesitant to use them because you're like,
hoard 'em.
I don't
Yeah.
know when I'm going to get them. Maybe something in this game, you're always making so much food that it's just like, just eat the sandwich. Just
just
you'll be
use it.
fine. Yeah.
Not to mention that your characters automatically get up 2 turns later when they're rezzed, and you don't
Right.
have to feed your characters any ethers because you get MP back.
Right.
Right,
It's
exactly, yeah.
It's brilliant. It's one of the best RPGs I have ever played, probably. It really, like I said
I would
earlier,
put it up there for sure. Yeah.
if you
I
told
would
me
say
this was
that.
made by Squaresoft, I would believe you.
Yeah.
And no, it's made by, whatever games. Like, it's some
Sabotage,
indie publisher.
Here's your pro tip on the food, right? So you get the ingredients, you find them everywhere. When you get access to the town of Mirth, they're going to have a killer garden, and you can get all the items that you need to there, right?
Right.
Since you only have those 10 slots, the food continues to upgrade in normal RPG fashion. You basically have an item that heals only, an item that does MP only, item that does both, and
Right.
then the recover all versions, the
Right.
version that does the whole party
Everybody.
or just one individual, right? So they continue to level up through the end of the game until you get to the ultimate ones that are like fully heal everyone, fully MP everyone, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So as you keep making those, it's also a great way to make money and the extra money in the game to buy items because you can sell the cooked food.
Oh my fucking God. I did
Wait,
not
I
even
didn't
think
know
about
that.
this.
I didn't know you could sell the food.
So
Huh.
there are vendors that will buy your cooked food. so you continue to make that, keep
Oh,
what you need, don't go
man.
crazy. But then
Such a
you can
good
always
game.
afford those items because it does the RPG trope of, for the most part, the pirate makes the joke, right?
Yeah. There's a pirate in the game named Yolanda who there's like
He's the
you're,
best.
you're having a conversation whether you join her pirate crew or whatever, and she says something along the lines of, how about buying linear upgrades from every single town where the blacksmiths are somehow increasingly more capable the further up north they live?
Yeah.
Right,
just
the
starts
game just
naming
looking right
tropes,
like,
it's great.
are you having fun playing the game?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, yes, I am. Thank you for making it exactly how I like it. Like, the character
True.
says it as a joke, but I'm just like, yeah, dude, I like it that
what I
way,
want.
man. That's
What I
how
want, yeah.
games, the homage to the JRPG of this game is that. Like, it just,
Yep.
the verticality of the levels makes it to where sometimes you walk into areas and you go, holy shit, how am I ever going to get through this? Like, I'm going to get lost. But then, no. The game speaks JRPG, so if you have any experience at all playing JRPGs, there was, like I said, an area where you go to this temple and I'm going, oh my God, I got to go up and down and across and I'm going to get fucking lost. Nope. Just the game does a bunch of visual cues and does a really good job of just like creating a path for you where I haven't gotten stuck just zipping through these dungeons,
Yeet.
which are awesome, by the way. The designs
Yeah.
of the levels make me go, oh yeah, this is why JRPGs are good. I forgot because I haven't played one that has bothered to make this the reason it's good in so long. So it's just, man, it just hits so hard. And the last thing I want to talk about here, the last thing that playing this game made me realize, oh, this is another one of the things that makes JRPGs, which is music.
Oh,
Music, man. First of all, it has to be good, and you have to have a lot of it. Okay,
it's good.
because if you look at like the track listings for some of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasies, there's a lot of fucking songs on those games, right? Because if you're
each
a really
town has a
good,
theme.
Yep.
Several combat themes.
Yep.
You know, each character has a theme.
Yup.
Yeah.
If you're
Sub boss themes,
Yup.
big boss,
boss
themes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
if
You
you're
have to have multiple battle themes.
if you're a really good JRPG, you do.
Yes.
Because I
Right.
think that there's a wash of RPGs that try to focus so hard on doing something different that they might forget that we really just want a good version of the thing we already like.
True.
So I'm gonna go through some of the music of these two games because they are both freaking bangers. Let's start with Chrono Trigger. Yonori Mitsuda and Nobuo Uematsu, man, Raph was playing this game in his room, and spoilers, Raph and I live in the same house, and just walking through the kitchen and hearing the Chrono Trigger music coming from his room, I was just like, I had to peek my head in, like,
Give me
playing
some
Chrono
corridor
Trigger in there,
time, baby.
playing some fucking Chrono Trigger in there, bad boy, because
Yeah.
Give me some courage
Man,
and pride.
I'm just gonna play some Chrono Trigger music.
Do it.
It's so good, y'all. This is the battle music for Chrono Trigger, the regular slapdick battle music.
That bass line.
Here we go. God, it's so good. Now let's listen to the fucking kick-ass battle music from Sea of Stars.
Love this one. Love it right there. Yeah. Right
Here it goes. About that beat.
You see, this is the song that reminds me of The Messenger the most.
God, that is good shit.
What matters in an RPG like this?
You gotta
that
get
40
pumped.
hours later, you still want to hear it.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Love it.
I could listen to it for fucking ever. It's so fucking good. Now let's do the boss battle music, because I also love the boss battle music for both of these games.
So is this Chrono Trigger first, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna do the
Okay.
boss battle music from Chrono Trigger here.
That's a good one too.
It's fucking rock.
Dragon.
Fuck yeah.
Those horns or whatever they are in the background.
God, it's so fucking good.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
god.
a banger. That's a banger.
Oh my god, it's so good. And we've got a couple of the boss musics from actually Sea of Stars, because Sea of Stars got a lot of music, man. There's
Yeah,
3 albums on YouTube if you look it up.
Wild. Oh man, that bass.
That fucking bass line.
Oh man, that's good.
Fuck. I'm playing this game on the couch going, why the fuck have I waited so long to play this game? Let's play this other. It's called, the name of the track is Encounter Elite. This track fucking slaps.
This is when you know shit got real.
This is the big boss music.
Yeah, there we go. Man, I want to play Sea of Stars right now.
God damn, I want to go play it right now.
But it hits the banger part here in a second.
Those drums sound like
Wow, so fucking good. God damn, it slaps. I could literally listen to it forever.
Can we do
so
an episode where we just listen to
good.
music all day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do an episode where we just listen to music.
One awesome thing. So all those tracks that I just played from Sea of Stars are all the tracks that are made by the guy that did the Messenger's music. Before I play a Mitsuda track, because they're actually a lot more tame. He uses like full orchestras. I did want to mention, because Buck pointed this out, and I download one of these tracks. There is a group of pirates in the game that you meet, and they have a pirate band that plays in one of the towns. And
All the towns. Every town.
They are like a
Every
jukebox
inn.
where you can go to them where they're performing and change the song that they're playing, and they play all the songs from the game, y'all, in pirate rendition, which is fucking crazy.
If you liked any of those tracks, would you like sea shanty version of those tracks?
So
Hell yeah.
now
I
I'm
love
going
that.
to play the pirate version of the battle music.
Oh, man, that's great.
Because one of the characters plays an accordion. So.
Oh, I love that.
So
flute.
good. It's so
Oh,
good.
that's great.
It's so good. It's unbelievably good. I can't say enough about the music of this game. It's incredible. So before we end, I'll play one of the Mitsuda tracks. It's less exciting. He does a lot of the overworld music, so it's pretty ambient stuff. So this song is called "The Town of Mirth." So he's got a little bit more instrumentality in his tracks. He's got like an actual guitar. He's straying away from the beeps and
But
boops.
doesn't it scream like 900 decibel and everything in Chrono Trigger?
Very
This
pleasant.
is so soothing too, though. It's funny because the dude from the Messenger, I keep forgetting his name, but the guy who did the music for the Messenger. It's like the music is supposed to emulate an older game, but it has this more modern sound to it. And then these tracks feel like an old, like what you might hear in an old Final Fantasy game, or what you might have heard in Chrono Trigger. I mean, it's the guy that made the music for it. So, but yeah, it's cool listening to the stark contrast there, how modern the other one sounds and how classic the other one does.
I have one last song from Chrono Trigger I want to play before we dip out here and do our final segment, because we've also got, man, this is another really good song from Sea of Stars. The song's called Trial in the Mist. It's one of the first. I started playing it. I'm playing it on my Razer Kishi in my bedroom, and I have earphones in, and I have to take them out because I have to show my girlfriend this music. Fucking slaps. You're just walking around this overworld. There's a big dragon sleeping underneath this mountain. All sorts of fun shit. My favorite track from Chrono Trigger. Let's see if this will play here.
4 horse time, I can hear it.
If you've played Chrono Trigger, this song is probably making you feel pretty warm and fuzzy inside, because I know that every time I hear this song playing, it makes me want to cry just thinking about how good that game is.
overworld.
Remember being a child. Remember playing games as a child. That's all I just remember happiness as a child. It's Chrono Trigger. Come back and play me.
I mean, listening to all this music made me go down the rabbit hole of JRPGs again, and yeah, this is it brings me back to a simpler time.
See, but that's the biggest thing. That's why Sea of Stars is so good. There's not a lot of RPGs that scratch the same kind of itch that these two and the older Final Fantasies do. Newer ones don't as much with some of those, which is not, it's good to see like the remake of the Super Mario RPG because it definitely scratches a cool itch like that.
But it's so interesting to see because this game, it uses nostalgia so powerfully, but despite the even with the nostalgia and everything, it's such a solid game that it's like the nostalgia isn't the only reason why it brings about these emotions. It's just a really good game with a really good story and good writing.
I'm gonna continue playing it. I'm going to beat it. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is one that I'm definitely gonna try to finish.
All right. That is going to wrap up our game pairings for Chrono Trigger and Sea of Stars. In summation, I would say they're both absolutely fantastic games. They're top-tier JRPGs. I'll have to beat Sea of Stars to tell you whether I like it better than Chrono Trigger. But as of right now, it is on the fucking hunt, dude. It is
That's
right
tough.
the fuck up there. All the mechanic updates have just absolutely made it a contender. So let's move on to our final segment, our What Else You Got? All right. Welcome to What Else You Got, where we're going to bring something else to the table for today's podcast. I'll go first. My What Else You Got today is I played the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown demo. I don't know if anybody else got to play it, but it's cool. So if you haven't heard, Ubisoft made a new Prince of Persia game. They haven't. No Prince of Persia game has been made in like 12 years or something like this, like quite some time.
Not since
I think there was like
right?
one after that was just called The Prince of Persia or something like that, and it was. I think it was like right before that Jake Gyllenhaal movie came out. Like they were trying to link those things together. This kind of shitty.
Movie.
But Lost Crown is pretty good. It's Metroidvania. First of all, that's one thing of note. It's no longer just a straight up action platformer. So yeah, you don't play as the Prince of Persia. Actually, you play as just some random warrior guy. He's got 2 swords. It's got some really cool platforming. The platforming reminded me a lot of Ori and the Will o' the Wisp or those games, just in the sense that you sort of flow. There's a button that is your dodge, but then if you hold down that dodge button, it starts your run animation. So there's a lot of dashing, running, jumping, air dash, double jump, swing swords, shoot the things, and you've got a double swords and a bow and arrow that does like a ricocheting effect. So there's times when you can like get things to ricochet off walls to hit enemies, and then while they're in the air, you catch them and throw them down, and then teleport down. And I don't know, it's a cool beat 'em up. Like I said, it's got Metroidvania elements in the sense that there's a big map and a bunch of items that you can snag from those rooms and go to different areas. The biggest improvement I'd say on the gameplay of Metroidvanias in general that it has is that there are ways to leave screenshots of your map, like of the rooms on a map in the map. So if you're in a room, like in Metroidvania, like in Metroid, that happens where you go, I don't have the thing for this yet. I got to remember to come back. You can put a little node on your map that when you go to the node, it's just a straight up thumbnail of the room. So if you're like, what the fuck was this? Oh yeah, it's the room where I need the green thing. But yeah, its demo is on pretty much everything right now. So I would pick it up. The new Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
I'll give it a go.
Sounds cool. As long as you don't mind not owning your games, right?
Yeah,
that's a story. Yeah, that's a story for a different day.
Yeah, they're talking about you gotta have to be comfortable with them just going away. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Ubisoft executive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did hear about this.
I won't get into it.
I heard the guy from Larian.
Marker system.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was a guy from Ubisoft. It was the guy from Larian said we'll never be on Game Pass or any of those things.
Yeah, like he responded to it, kind of.
Yeah, that marker system you're talking about, Metroid Dread had something similar to that with colored markers. You could mark your map.
But yeah, that's my What Else You Got. Play it. It's pretty cool. Buck, what else you got?
Cool.
I just got back from
Yeah,
Magfest.
no, I knew this was coming.
Baby. Me lovey some Magfest. If you guys don't know what Magfest is, sorry that you're living under a rock. No, I'm just kidding. The island's full. Don't come listening to nothing that I say because you can't get there anyway. It sells out. Magfest is a music and gaming festival that takes place in National Harbor, Maryland every year, sometime in January. It's completely kept a secret because then the hotel lottery is not an absolute nightmare. I'm going to get an atrium room. Inside Magfest joke. The music and gaming festival, it's every good convention you've ever been to, all crammed into an even better convention.
Cool.
Everything from board games to arcade games to LAN party to VR stuff to LARPing to magic drafts to everything else that you want to have in there. Cool dealer room, everything else. But the coolest thing that sets Magfest apart is music. Magfest has a weekend-long festival style of video game music and indie bands like no other anything in the universe ever has. Like if you've ever seen that Bit Brigade or Mega Ran is coming to your town, or the Proto Men or someone like that, this is a collection of all of these folks all in one places. I got to see a 80s, 90s Japanese jazz style band named Zaku. I got to see a group called Abandoned Quest that part of their show was one of their tech leader guys made custom DDR maps, and then they had DDR pros on stage playing the games on Pump It Up while they played the songs as part of their show. There was a band that did a cover of of Eno's theme from Guilty Gear XX. Like, yeah, whoa, and everything in between, and hip hop acts and metal acts and jazz acts. Lacey Johnson was there doing all her Guitar Queen stuff.
Sounds rad as hell.
It is just the coolest musical thing. Everything else, but all the other stuff that they mashed into it as well too. The Proto Men were there this year. They haven't been there in 3 or 4 years. They actually brought RC and Hot Rod from the Cybertronic Spree up on stage.
So
to
if
do
anybody
a
doesn't
cover of
know
Barracuda.
who the Cybertronic Spree is, it's a band of guys that dress up as Transformers while they play music a la Guar. Yes.
Yes, one of their drummer is the Quintesson. Their hype man is Rumble. They have Shockwave.
It's cool,
man. Yes, it's just nuts.
Oh, that's cool as hell.
So their lead singer and their bass player and other lead singer were also there for that. The Proto Men are always a really good show. They closed out on Saturday night. Like I said, I saw Abandoned Quest, Family Jewels, and Danimal Cannon did this thing called the Video Game Shred Venture. When these VODs go up on YouTube later, we'll go back to them because you'll have to see some of them. But one of them you won't see the VODs of that we're going to pop up on screen here. I think I'd like to show this video because I probably have the only video in existence of this because I was there. This was at 1:30 a.m. Friday going into Saturday. I wanted to go see the amazing Brando. Google him on YouTube or YouTube, search him up, and you'll find a video that you probably watched 10 years ago. He has a video for the Song of Storms that's like 14 years old and has 1 million views on YouTube. He gave us all kazoos so that when he did that song, we could all go 12 kazoos. But then right before his set started, his guitar had a technical issue. So his set took like 5 or 10 or 15 minutes longer. But he had given us all kazoos. And it was late and maybe some of us were inebriated, Anyway, I have video and there's me in this crowd with these other people. And in this video is one of the MCs from Magfest in there. He's wearing I think the Kirby sweatshirt in this video. The guy with the purple mohawk is Steve from the Super Guitar Bros. If you've never seen them, and they're awesome. The guy to my left there with the fur coat on, that's the hype man from the Proto Men, the guy Kilroy that comes out with the mask on and introduces them. And the commander, the guy with the beard that plays keyboard, is just off camera to the left there. And it's us jamming down some Mega Man on kazoos at 1:30 a.m. That same jam space right before there was a gal named Lacey Johnson was there, and they played. I got video of them playing the Zelda 2 town music, and she had one of those cat keyboards from Target, the one that's like meow 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 meow. But she's playing the meow 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 meow.
Legend of Zelda 2 has some of the best music in the Zelda franchise. There, I said it.
And you did not know that it needed cat keyboard until it got a little bit of cat keyboard.
Hell yeah.
But on top of that, they have an awesome indie arcade there with a lot of indie places there. I got to play, if you guys search up, I got to play this amazing one that I hope it comes out soon. It's called like savage blood murder death or something. It just looks like a remake. It just looks like a remake of Friday the 13th for
Yes,
the
you showed us
NES that this
this.
guy's
Looks
making
fantastic.
for the computer. So they have all that cool indie stuff. But one of the coolest things also that they have really at Magfest, if you've never seen, is the Swag. If you don't know what the Swag is, take your badge from Magfest, but give it that super swag treatment. This is my Swag from this year. It's the gunship
Oh
from
shit!
Super
Nice.
Metroid, as you can see.
That is
It's set on color
shiny.
cord mode right now. But these last year's was Smash Brothers, so it had a completely
What the
playable
fuck?
version of Smash Brothers on it. This year's was Metroid, and so in this one, it has a
What
playable
the
version
fuck?
of their own Metroid
Yo!
Prime on here, so I can play. I
Hold
can
it up a little
play
bit more.
Metroid Prime.
Whoa!
uh,
Yeah, hold
I
up a
can
little
play
higher.
Metroid. I can play
What?
Metroid Prime on my Swag. There we go.
Oh shit! What
Oh,
the fuck?
dude, what?
It's like Doom. That's
And you can hear the
awesome.
music coming out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a couple years ago they had Doom, and it was actually Doom. I have that one. It was the red key card
Wow.
/ a chainsaw for Doom. You could play Doom. Last year's was Smash Brothers. They
Wow.
made an actual playable Smash
Wow.
Brothers game on the Swag. So everybody get these things are like $50 there. People
That's awesome.
everybody makes them. It's so freaking cool. They're an absolute blast. And one extra cool little piece I was at Magfest this year. They do speed running as well called Magfast there. Well, this year there was a Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, European Extreme, 2 players, 1 controller speed run. But Cynthia Harrell was there.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who Cynthia Harrell is, she is Miss Snake
Oh, cool.
Eater.
Nice.
Whoa, no way.
So while they
Oh,
climbed
that's
the
awesome.
ladder, she got up on stage, glass of red wine in hand, and sang the Snake
That's
Eater song
fucking nasty.
live on stage
That's awesome.
at Magfest. She also
That
did
is
I Am
awesome.
the Wind, which is the ending credits song
Oh,
to
that's funny.
Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
If you ever popped your CD in there too. So it is super
All right.
fun. But like I said, don't come. The island's full. Sorry. It's sold out this year. 22,000-ish people came
Holy
to
shit.
Magfest this
All
year.
right.
It was insane.
Raph, what else you got?
Man, so the 2 games that we played this week had me nostalgic as hell. So I decided that I was going to dive into Final Fantasy VII
Hell yeah.
again because I actually never beat that game growing up. I accidentally soft locked myself at the very end of the
Yeah.
game.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're given a save point that you can put anywhere, and I put it inside the crater. So I was never able to leave, and I wasn't strong enough to beat Sephiroth. So I am hoping that maybe in the
Multiple
next
saves
2
for
weeks.
kids.
You
What's
got to
up?
do multiple saves in
Multiple
RPGs,
saves for
and
kids.
it's a PSA
Oh, yeah,
for
right,
children.
Backup saves.
Right, and I'm hoping that in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to report that I finally beat Final Fantasy VII.
Fuck yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have
But that's my I'm diving down that nostalgia road right now.
yeah, honestly.
Nah, go be Sea of Stars.
We'll talk about Final Fantasy VII more in the beginning of March because the end of February, the second half of the 7 remake comes out. So we're going to do a little episode where we game pair Final Fantasy VII with the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Is that what the first one was called? Remake?
Ooh, maybe I'll be able to look at it with fresh eyes.
Second one, remake.
With remake.
The first one's actually called
So we can-
remake.
Yeah, remake is the first
I have
one, and
not
then this
even
one's
played
Rebirth
that
one
or
yet.
something like that.
Well, but we can't talk. No, stop. We can't talk
I've
about
played
it. We
a
don't have
good
any time.
chunk of the
Stop.
remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I was going to
Okay.
say is you can get through it in like 20 hours. That's
Okay.
all. So once you beat Sea of
And
Stars,
then we're
you
also we got to fucking play Persona 3 as well for our Turning Japanese episode. Anyhow, that
Hell
is our
yeah.
show, y'all. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can help us continue producing the Game Treasure podcast by giving to our Patreon at patreon.com/thegtp. Join us next week where we'll be celebrating Groundhog's Day by talking about games that we could play on an infinite loop as if we were Bill Murray. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids, and I would like to direct you to RetroGameTreasure.com. Owned and operated by Buck, aka the Megabuck himself, it is a subscription service that sends you bespoke boxes of games every month. These are every major console from Atari 2600 to the PS4 generation. These games are tailored to your collection. You'll never get a game you can't play, and you'll never get a game you already have. Retro Game Treasure has been obsessed with video games since 1985. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.